Hello everyone. So welcome to the channel. Today is the third day 3 for Python Premier course, and today we are going to discuss sequence in Python. In the last class we had covered flow control in Python. In flow control we covered many topics. We covered for loop, we covered while loop, we covered if else statements, we covered ranges, and after the session, at the end of the session, we had a fun quiz in which I asked the questions and people were replying me in the comments. Today's session is going to be a little different. Today we are going to cover sequence in Python. In sequences we are going to cover mainly two data structures. One is the list and second is tuples. During the end of the session, based on the concepts that we have learned, we are going to make an interesting application, and we are going to make jukebox. Okay, so yeah, uh, yeah. So I see people are still joining the live session. Okay, I'll just wait for one more minute so that we have the audience. Yeah. And also, in the video description you will also find the GitHub repo where we are uploading the code snippets that we are using during the session. And if you want to do the assignment, you will find the link for the assignment in the video description. So make sure that at the end of every session you are also doing the take home, you are also completing the take home assignment. Okay. So someone is asking, can you please discuss yesterday's assignment? So I won't be able to discuss yesterday's assignment in this session because I want to keep the session for around 45 minutes. If anyone wants to discuss the assignment, he can ping me in the Discord channel. So we have an active Discord server where we have 2000 people, and the people are increasing day by day. So the link for that Discord server is also in the video description. So make sure that you're also subscribed to our Discord server. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let me just start the session now. So okay, cool. Huh. So as I said that today's session is going to be on sequences in Python. In sequences, we will cover mainly two topics, lists and tuples. So before I go and directly dive into these two data structures, I would explain you two kind of data types in Python. So this concept is not only related to Python, it is on these mutable and immutable data types are also present in other programming languages also. So what is a mutable object? So the mutable object is the one whose value can be changed. Okay. So right now it might not make sense to you. We will cover the example and the things will start making sense. Okay, so Python has following mutable objects. It has list, dictionary, set, and byte array. Okay, what is an immutable data type? So immutable data type is a built-in data type in Python whose value cannot be changed. Okay, so integer, float, bool, str, tuple, these are immutable data types in Python. Okay, yeah. So let me just cover the basic introduction of lists. So in Python, list is basically an kind of array. In C, C++, or Java, you must be using data structure array. List is very similar to that. It is the syntax is we declare the list using the these brackets, and then we put the individual items in the list. The first item in the list is at the index 0, the second item is at the index 1, and so on. Okay, And to iterate the list, you can use a for loop and you can print the list. Okay, so here I am using a for loop and I am printing the list. Yeah, so here if you see, I am accessing the item at index 2. Okay, the item at index 2 would be keyboard. Okay, here if you see, I am printing the sub list of that list, the items from 0 to index 2. So this 3 will not be included. I have explained this in the last session, and this -1 will print the last element of the list. Okay, so let me just run this program. Okay, if you see here, we are printing the entire list, and then we are printing the elements at index 0, 1, and 2. Okay, and here we are printing the last element. Cool. Okay, now just as I told you that list is a mutable data type in Python, let me just give you an example of what is the meaning of mutable data type by running this code. Okay, so I have taken this list here. This list has these items, and I have declared another list which I have assigned to shopping list. Okay, so if I print the ID, so ID is basically, uh, so every one of you has an address, right? You are living at some place and you have an address. So ID is kind of an address for the shopping list. Okay, so when you declare a variable, right, that is stored in compute in your ram's memory somewhere. Okay, when you are running this program, the program will run into your computer's ram. Okay, and this variable will be allocated some address, right? It will be stored in some address. So that ID is actually pointing, so when you call ID of shopping list, it will print the address of shopping list. Okay, so let me just run this program. I will comment out this. Okay, and I will run this. So if you see that both are pointing to same addresses, because another list we have assigned to shopping list and another list is pointing to shopping list, that is why both of them are pointing to the same address. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. Okay, so in this snippet, what I am doing is I am appending this shopping list with this additional item cookies, and then I'm printing the shopping list. So what happens is, okay, so if I print the shopping list and I also print the address of the shopping list, that is still the same. That this is not changed. Okay, and if I print another list, so guess what? The another list will also have the same items as shopping list because another list is pointing to shopping list. They are pointing to the same address, right? See, both of them have the same items. I have added the item in the shopping list, but the items in another list also got changed because they were pointing to the same address, right? Cool. So I'll just uncomment this code now. Yeah, so I have here, this is called chained assignment. So in Python, you can do a chained assignment. So here, all of these variables will be assigned to another list. Okay. So if I, so what I'm doing in this code is I'm assigning all these variables to another list, and then I am adding cream to list B, right? Since I am adding the cream to list B, but all of these lists are pointing to another list, all of them will get updated. Okay, see, I have added the item in list B, but I am printing C and D. So as I am printing C and D, C and D also got updated because C and D are pointing to another list and B is also pointing to another list. Okay, So that is what I meant by mutable object. Okay. So one more thing I would like to, yeah. So if I print ID of say B, right? So ID of B will still be this, right? So ID of B still the same which was assigned earlier, right? So one more thing, if I so during the execution of the program, the address remains same. So if I run the program again, this address might change, but all the addresses will remain same during the execution of the program. So if I run this again, see, the address has changed, but it is same throughout the program. Okay, yeah. Any questions, anyone? Okay, so there are no questions. Okay, now just let me go over to uh, yeah. Okay, let me go over to this program. So this is also a basic program in which what I am doing is I am declaring an empty list. Okay, so I've declared the empty list, and then I am asking user to enter the choice. So he can add the options from this list. He can, if he enters one, computer will be added into his list. If he enters two, monitor will be added into the list. Okay, so how I am adding the elements into the list, I am using this append function. Okay, so I am using this append function, and using this append function, I am adding the item based on his choice. Okay, so just let me run this and show you. So if I say type 2, adding uh, adding 2, type 3. Okay, to quit the program, I'll type 0. See, it has added 2 and 3 items, that is monitor and keyboard, into the list. Okay, so you can add any item from the list, you can also remove any item from the list. Okay, so removing the item we will see in the next example, in the next few examples. Okay, okay, so yeah. So yeah, I'll also cover a few. So list is actually a very powerful data type in Python, and there are several functions that you can use over on the list. Okay, so here I am covering just very few functions, but you can Google and find several other functions also. So here I am declaring a list of even numbers and a list of odd numbers. Okay, and then I'm printing a minimum of even. So minimum of even will actually result me the minimum number from this list. Okay, the max of even will return me the maximum number from this list. Similarly, here I am printing minimum of this list and maximum of this list, and here I am printing the length of this list and the length of odd list. Okay, here what I am doing is uh, ha- uh, so I have declared this string. Okay, so string is also a sequence in Python. Okay, so as I told you, a sequence is an ordered collection of items. In any programming language, the sequence is an ordered collection of items. Okay, so I am counting the number of time this substring has occurred in this string. Okay, so here I am covering some of the functions that you can use when you are using a sequence. Okay, not the sequence, every sequence, if you are using a list, it will have different kind of functions. If you're using a string, it will have a different kind of functions. Okay, so if you see, right here, it is printing the minimum of this list is 2, maximum is 8, Minimum of this list is 1, maximum is 9, so it is printing like that. Okay. Okay, cool. uh, Now let me move to another example where I'll cover this enumerate uh, so enumerate function in Python. Okay, anyone has any questions? Okay, so there are no questions. I'll move to this example. Okay, so what okay, so before I go to this example, right, I'll explain what a tuple is. Okay, so yeah, so tuple is actually an immutable data type. It's an immutable object in Python. So by immutable, what I mean is, when once you declare when once you assign a tuple to a variable, you cannot change the value of any item in this tuple. Okay, so in this example, I am declaring these five tuples. Okay, so the syntax of declaring tuple is, you what you do is, you assign a variable 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can do this or you can also do this 1, 2, 3. So both the syntax are same. Uh, so it's on to you. If you want to use the braces, you can use the braces or you can leave it also. Okay, so here what I'm doing is, I am declaring these five tuples and then I am printing the tuples. Okay, let me just comment this. Okay, see here, I here I've printed the first tuple and then I'm printing the items in this first tuple by accessing the index 0, 1 and 2. Okay, okay, cool. So uh, after this, what I'm doing is, I'm converting this tuple to a list and assigning it to a different variable, and then I'm printing this list. Okay, and then I'm changing the value of the value at index 1 in this list. Okay, so uh, so since this is a Metallica 2 is a list, right, I can change the value. Okay, so if I run this, you will see the value got changed to this master of puppets. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me try to change the value of the tuple and not the list. If I do it like this, okay, let me just comment this. Okay, now let me run this. You will see it gives a type error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. That means once you have declared your tuple, when once you have initialized your tuple with the value, you cannot change its value. Okay, so anyone has any questions till now? Okay, so the question comes, when do we need to use tuple and when do we need to use list? Okay, so the first advantage of using a tuple over a list is, the value of tuple cannot be changed. Okay, so if you want to use such kind of data structure in your program where you don't want so suppose you have an API and someone else is using your API, right? So if you don't want to basically want the user to, so someone is using your API and you don't want your user to change the item in your data structure, then what would you prefer? You would prefer using a tuple over a list. Okay, you don't want to lose your data integrity, so you want to maintain your data integrity. In that case, you won't want to you would not like to use a list, you would like to use a tuple. Okay, so that's about tuples. Now, okay, now let me go over this example. So this here what I'm doing is, here I'm using this enumerate function in Python. So what it returns is, it returns me a tuple. Okay, so it will return me a tuple. The first item would be the index and second would be the character. Okay, so if I run this program, right, so you will see that it is returning me a tuple where the first item is the index and second is the character. So if I print it like this, right, see, let me just put item here and print item. Okay, let me run this now. See, now it is printing, it is returning a tuple. The first item is the index and second is the character. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Now we have covered the basics of the list. We have also covered the tuples. Okay. So we have also covered this example using the lists. Now let me cover this example where what we are doing is we are unpacking the sequence. So unpacking means, um, let me just remove this. We don't need this. So here what I am doing is, see, what we are doing is, so Python also support this kind of syntax where you in the same line you can assign x, y, z the values 1 to 76. Okay, so you can assign multiple variables, the values to multiple variables in the same line. Okay, so how it's happening is basically, when you are doing this x y z equal to 1 to 26, right, so this is actually a tuple. Okay, as I said you, when you write, say, a equals to 1 to 6, right, so 1 to this is a tuple, so this the tuple would be created and the value, or the value 1 will be assigned to x, the value 2 will be assigned to y, and the value 76 will be assigned to z. Okay, so both the code, right, this code, the this code and this code does the same thing. Okay, here I am, so if I print the data here, right, the data is would be a tuple. Okay, let me just comment this code. Okay, just let me run this. Okay, so if you see, right, here I have assigned values, these values to my variable x, y, and z. Okay, yeah. So similarly, you can do the same thing in the list, right? But why I have taken this example, right? Say mistakenly in the code you have changed your list. Okay. So here, if you run this program, right, this will run fine. Just let me. Yeah, yeah. I've commented it out. Yeah. See, this program runs fine. Okay. So mistakenly, what you do is you basically change your list. Okay, before unpacking the list, you append a new value to the list. Okay, so in that case what will happen is you will get a value error, that too many values to unpack, because your data, your list has 4 values now after appending, but you are unpacking the list into 3 variables. Okay, so it gives a value error in this case. But if you would have used the tuple, right? So in tuple, you basically, the tuple is an immutable data type. That means during the runtime, you cannot change the value inside the tuple. You cannot append a new value inside the tuple. So basically, your if you, as I said, if you an A- you if you an A- you have an API, your client will not be allowed to do those kind of operations. Okay, so in those scenarios, you would like to, where you know that you are not going to change your data during the entire execution of the program, or the during the entire execution of your application would remain same. Okay, each and every item in your sequence will remain same. In those scenarios, you would like to use a tuple over a list. Okay, and the second advantage also is when you're using a tuple, right? And so say you know that the data is same, okay, during the execution of program. Okay, so so even then you can use list, right? Supposing that people are not going to change your list, and you know that people will not play with your list, the data, they are not going to tweak the data or the items in the list. You assuming that you are fine with using a list. But what will happen is, since list has so many functions, right? You can append a function to the list, you can remove an item to the list, you can split a list into two, you can join two lists. So there are many functions in the list. So since there, it comes with an overhead, right? So the your program will consume more memory in that scenario. Okay, so as I said, if the items are not going to change, so surely you would be using a tuple, because it will also save you the memory. The program will use less memory in that case. Okay, okay. Anyone has any questions? Okay, so no one has any question till now. Okay, so here I've covered unpacking of the list. Okay, now let me just cover. Okay, okay, I've covered this also. Okay, so now just let me cover this nested data, nested lists or nested sequences. Okay, so if you see this example, right? So in this example, what I am doing is I have declared a list. Okay, so this is a list. In this list, I have declared multiple tuples. Okay, every item is a tuple. Okay, this is a tuple. This is a tuple. This is a tuple. This is a tuple. Okay, inside this tuple, I have declared a list. Okay, so this is a list. Similarly, in this tuple, this is a list. Okay, in this list, I have declared five more tuples. Okay, in this list, I have declared eight more tuples. Okay, and each tuple has two items. If you see, each tuple has two items. Okay, so if you see, this is a nested sequence. We have a list, inside the list we have a tuple, inside the tuple we have the list again, and then inside the list we have the tuple again. So you can even do these kind of things. Okay, so here using this data structure that I have made, this nested data structure, uh, and I assigned it to this variable albums. So this is an album, right? We have this album Welcome to the Nightmare by Alice Cooper, which was released in 1975, and these are the songs of the albums. Okay, similarly, we have three more albums in total. Albums has these four tuples, so we have four albums in this list. Okay, so using this album, right, what we'll do is we will develop a jukebox. Okay, so let me just go over the code right here. Anyone has any questions till now? Okay, so there are no questions till now. Okay, so using this nested list that I've made, right, what I'll be doing is I'll be making a jukebox. Okay, so here if you see this, I am importing this. So if you don't understand this right now, we will cover this in the next sessions. So what I'm doing is I'm just I want to use this albums list in my this code. Okay, so how do I do this? From this file nestedData.py, I will import this albums. Okay, so how do we import, and what is import? What do you mean by import? What are the different syntax of imports? All those things we will go to cover in the in the next few sessions. Okay, so for now, just understand that your this class can access this variable albums because we have imported this from nestedData.py class. Okay, so what I am doing here is uh, I'll just run the program first and then I will explain you what the program does is. Okay, so it says that please choose your album. Okay, let me just choose welcome to the nightmare, and from this welcome to the nightmare album it says choose your song. Okay, I'll choose this song, devil's food. Okay, then as soon as I choose my song it will start to play the song devil's food. Okay, let me give you one more example. Please choose your album. I'll choose 4. Now please choose your song. I'll choose this, and as soon I choose this it will start to play the song. Okay, so that is what happens in the applications that you use, right? If you have used Spotify or Savan, you choose the album, right? You tap on the album and then you choose the song. Okay, so that is what is happening here also. Okay, so now uh, since I have declared this nested data structure, right, I'm using this nested data structure to iterate over the album, and then once I have I'm on the correct album, I will iterate over the song which, and I will decide which song to play based on the input provided by the user. Okay, so if you see here, right, what I am doing is I in this code I am covering all the concepts that we have seen till now. Okay, so while true. Okay, while true means that this loop will run indefinitely. uh, it will print please choose your album, and then from this albums, right, what we are doing is we are using this enumerate. This enumerate will give you a tuple index and this second thing. Okay, second second variable. So this itself would be if you see, right, this will be individual album that you have. Okay, then what I'm doing is I'm printing the index here, index of the album, index by using index plus 1, and title of the album. Okay, here. Okay, then what I'm doing is I'm taking the choice. So I have printed that if we have these 4 albums, then I'm taking the choice from the user. Okay, so say I've taken the choice. Sorry, I just got a call. Yeah, so say I've taken the choice 1, and then if the choice is between 1 to length of the albums, what I'm taking is I'm taking the songs list. Okay, using this albums of choice minus 1. So what why I'm doing choice minus 1? Because the index starts from 0. So if you give the choice 1, I have to go to the index 0. Okay, and this I've initialized songs list index to 3, because if you see my data structure, right, uh, yeah. So my songs list is present at index 3. Okay, this is index 0. So if you are say at particular album, you are at this album, right? So your first item is the name of the album, title of the album, which is at index 0. Then this is at index 1, index 2, and this is index 3. Okay, so your songs list is present at index 3. Okay, so that is why I'm using index 3 here. Okay, so if you give the correct choice, then it's fine, else you break out of this while loop. Okay, now I have the songs list in this variable. What I do is I ask my user to please choose your song. Okay, now I print the index of the song and the song name. Okay, here also I'm doing index plus 1 because I said index starts from 0, but I want to show my user that the first song is this, second song is this, and the third song is this. Okay, then I take the song choice in the input. So if you look closely, I am converting this input to an integer, right? Because if you don't convert this as integer, by default it the song choice will be a string data type. Okay, and now if the song choice is between 1 and length of song choice list, what I'm doing is I'm just printing the song title. Okay, that I am playing this, and I initialize this song title to index 1 because the song title is present at the index 1 in this tuple. So this is index 0, this is index 1. Okay, so I am printing the song now. Okay, so let me just run it again. Stop and rerun. 3, choose your song. 4, playing the fourth song. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so that's about lists and tuples in Python. Today we saw what are sequences in Python. Then we saw what is a mutable object, what is an immutable object, and then we covered the examples on lists, and then we covered examples on tuples. Using the list and tuples, we made a nested data structure, and using that nested data structure, we made a jukebox. Okay. So anyone has any questions? Okay. 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 So I don't think anyone has any questions today. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I have put up the link for today's assignment in the video description. So please make sure that before attending tomorrow's class, you have completed the assignment that I have put in the link. Also, I have mentioned the GitHub repo URL where I am putting the code snippets that I am using the session. So you can go to that URL and refer the code snippet in the future. Okay. So I hope that you guys have liked today's session, and we will meet tomorrow at the same time. If you like the video, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe the video. And yeah, till then, good night and take care.